Swimmer Ian Thorpe is one of Australia's greatest ever Olympians, with 9 medals to his name, 5 of them gold. He was a household name from the age of just 15 and has done most of his growing up under enormous scrutiny. He's always presented as a confident, self-assured young man. But tonight Ian Thorpe is sharing a secret, that he's battled severe depression through most of his career. He also opens up on how he feels about his failed bid to make the 2012 Olympic team, his loneliness and the constant innuendo about his sexuality. Ian Thorpe sat down with me in Sydney earlier today. Ian Thorpe, thank you for your time.
No problem.
You write in your book about how attuned to the water you are to such a degree that if I'm swimming next to someone and they aren't swimming properly, I can hear it even without looking at them. That is incredible.
I don't know. I don't know if it's incredible, if it's a really good thing or a really bad thing. I notice where the water moves. I notice, how it's around me. And if, someone's out with their kick, I hear that and I kind of feel it. It does affect me a little bit. So in training, if someone's not kicking properly, I tend to correct them.
I hope you're never swimming in a lane next to me.
Well, why not?
Your ears will be bleeding.
You might actually have a perfect kick. Who knows?
Every time I read a book by a professional athlete, I'm struck by the pain that elite athletes endure. Why do you have the capacity to deal with that?
It's complicated because there is some part of you that must enjoy it. And I know that sounds a little strange, but you have to get some satisfaction out of putting in all of this energy into something and pushing yourself so hard so that you know that you've depleted everything your body can do for that particular session, that particular day. And then there's an instant relief after it that you get, that's the end of the session, it all gets better now.
With all of the hard training that you've done and all the physical pain that you've gone through, you've also suffered a lot of mental anguish as well, and you've revealed in your memoir that you've suffered from depression for much of your life and much of your career. When did you realise that you had depression?
When I was quite young. I was, probably in my mid-teens, when I realised that there was something that wasn't quite right. It wasn't, and at that time, I didn't know that it was depression. And it wasn't until a little bit later that I actually went to seek some help, because I knew that there was something that was just not quite right about me at that stage. And I really didn't have the words to be able to put around how I was feeling. And I think a lot of young people, they struggle with that. They struggle with, what is this that I'm feeling? I know it's just not quite right.
Now that you're older, can you put it in words? Was it a feeling of heaviness or sadness, or is there any way to explain it?
Look, I had, a level of loneliness that comes with it, and I think most people with depression will associate with that. And, with depression and in the more severe parts of it, it's kind of, although it's completely mental, it then becomes a physical deterrent as well, where you feel sluggish, where you feel as though you can't get out of bed, that you don't want to face the world today. But the good thing is, and why, and this is the first time I've spoken about this, I never thought I'd speak about this. I thought, I'll just keep this a secret. But I realised that there's a lot of young people out there that, don't know what to do. Like me when I was a teenager, that didn't know, what resources to use. And I know that we have very good resources like Beyond Blue and also Lifeline that is available to people. But, I felt, because I'm comfortable in the fact that, I feel a lot better than I have in the past, that it was the right time for me to actually talk about it so that, other people know that, things will get better.
You write in the book as well that you turn to alcohol at some times to help deal with it.
Yeah. I think, this is something that people, a lot of the time, people with depression go to alcohol because you just don't want to have to deal with it from time to time. And, there was a period where, for me, that was my solution, was I would drink and then basically wake up the next day and feel even worse for having drunk, done nothing about the depression, and still have to go on like everything's normal. I've looked, and there's been times where I felt like I am very much alone, and kind of scrolling through your phone and realizing you may have hundreds of numbers, but you don't call anyone. And that's kind of the scary thing around this is, all the things that would make you feel better, you don't do them. So now I make sure that I do those things.
You write in detail in your book about how hurtful it's been, the speculation around your private life and around your sexuality. Why has there been this level of intrusion around you that I can't recall seeing for any other athlete around this sexuality question?
Yeah, look, the thing that I find hurtful about it is that people are questioning kind of my integrity and what I say. That's the only part that I find hurtful, is that, this is something that I would be embarrassed about, that I would hide or whatever else. I think, and I try and explain it because I don't know either, but I think it's because I don't fit into the typical stereotype of, what Australian athletes have been in the past. The performances in the pool, I guess, we can relate to them as sport. I guess I behave differently. I like different things to what a lot of
what do you
other
mean?
people.
What sort of things?
Well, for me, I'm a nerd. I'm just someone that happened to be good at sport as well. I educated myself by reading books on planes. Traveling around the world. I like beautiful things in the world. I like the aesthetics of those things. This is what I like. When I talk about it, is I don't want to offend anyone that, whether they're people that friends that are gay or whatever else. I don't want to offend them by saying, getting angry about it, getting frustrated about it. The only part of it that I'm frustrated with is that, people think that I'm lying.
You write in the book that the truth is I've spent most of my life trying to avoid relationships, not just because of my demanding lifestyle as an athlete, but because I have a complicated personality and it isn't easy to find someone who fits comfortably with me or me with them. Do you still feel that way?
Yes. Well, I'm complicated, but I'm quite simple as well.
So what's complicated and what's simple?
Do you know what? For me, it's also, I think it's related to a little bit about me being quite introverted. And it surprises people when I say that, but I am. And it's, finding the right person has kind of been difficult for me. I think I may be very critical of myself, and I also try and avoid letting people into this world that they may not be prepared for. That's a tough thing to put on anyone. So if I'm in a relationship, it's really on the down low for the first part of it to even see if this was going to work out.
A lot of Australians would have seen how gutted you looked in the pool when things didn't go perhaps quite as you would have hoped recently. How are you feeling about it with a bit of distance?
Well, yeah, this is the good thing about time is, the reaction after this is like, why did I just do that? Why did I put myself through that? But, I decided I'd get back in, I'd start training again. And, I realised, I'm back in the pool because I love doing this. And, now that I don't have, this, monkey on my back, which was time, I can enjoy the process of training again. I am enjoying that again.
So you're going to keep going with it?
I'm still swimming.
Australians most recently would have seen you looking pretty devastated in the pool. They would have heard you now come out and talk about your depression. I think people would want me to just ask, are you doing okay? Are you in a good place in your life at the moment?
No, I am. And this is, when I wrote this book, I wrote the chapter on depression for myself. I never thought I'd include it in the book. I thought I'd just put it out there, and then I just went, no, it's staying in. And the only reason I can do that is because I'm in a really good place. I'm happy with what I'm doing. I'm loving swimming. I'm enjoying my life, and things are good. Although I was shocked and stunned after the trials, it didn't go my way. But that's life. It isn't always perfect, and I'm pretty happy with what I'm doing right now.
It's been lovely to talk to you, Ian. Thank you very much.
Cheers. Thank you.
And a much longer version of that interview will be on our website. Ian talks about what went wrong for Australia's swim team in London and whether the disgrace of cyclist Lance Armstrong has cast a shadow over all sport.